this is Sarah Zeldman again. As I guess I'll explain when I buy the gig, um, I need your help again. I'm presenting this a week from Sunday, and it definitely needs to be tighter. So not the part that you already did, but the next part. So we're going to repeat this process, if that's okay with you. I'm praying that it is. So I just want to show you uh, that I kind of got the concept you were talking about last time and see if you have any further suggestions on that. And then I'm going to go into the next section of this and ask you to help me tighten it up. Okay, so here goes. Um, this is so I took out the infographics. You're totally right. I just didn't realize what was wrong. It was the infographics are not good for this kind of presentation. So I have like a very rough, very ugly way to do it at the moment, and I'm wondering if you have any better suggestions to do it with my limited graphics knowledge, or if I could find someone on Fiverr to help me make a better thing. But I imagine you say something like this, like here at this point, I'm talking about traditional advertising. So I would say, first, let's remember that traditional advertising is designed to reach out to large numbers of unsolicited people who are increasingly tuning out these ads with the hopes of resonating with just a few members of your target market. Now consider that 44, whoops, sorry, started a little ahead of there. Oh, give me a break. Sorry, I think I started there. I wanted to start here. There we go. Let me just start here and then I'll forward it. There we go. Now consider, I've already done this part. I gave that little intro that I just gave. Now consider that 44% of direct mail is never open. Maybe I should put an X instead of an arrow going down. I'm trying to show it declining, not working. Maybe if I put that arrow diagonal and made it like a down, I don't know. 86% of people skip TV ads. 200 million people are on the do not call list, so telemarketing isn't working. Newspaper readership is declining so much that most newspapers have been laying off staff for years. Radio ad revenue has declined every quarter for the last 10 years, and the yellow pages are getting thinner and thinner because businesses are realizing that nobody uses them anymore. And I can go on and on with statistics just like this, but the bottom line is that these methods don't have the reach that they once did, and people are increasingly tuning out ads in these forms of media. And in addition to them being less effective than they used to be, as you probably know, they cost way, way more than using social media. So I don't really think I have to go into the details of that or whatever, and I'll just spiff that part up a little bit. So, even though this ends up being a very ugly slide, first of all, can you suggest a way to help me make this nicer? And second, this is kind of more along the lines of what you were thinking, right? Okay, my kids are calling me. I'm going to pause this video for a second. Okay, so that covers the statistics slide. I did a similar thing with the other statistics slides that you pointed out were problematic. The other infographics, I pulled them and did something similar. I have to figure out a way to make it prettier. Maybe you have a suggestion. But anyway, what I want to do is just move forward from here in the presentation. So the last we left off was this slide, and you told me you really like this, and I really appreciate the affirmation that I'm on the right track here. So I'm gonna do this slide and then go from there. So, so when it comes to where you should be spending your time, energy, and marketing dollars, online marketing and social media are the clear winners. That's where your customers are, and that's where you need to be. So if you're in the learning process with social media and you find yourself getting overwhelmed and frustrated, I hope that you'll remember that I just showed you how incredibly important it is for your business to be visible on social media and stick with it till your target audience, whoops, sorry Houston, we're having technical problems here. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully that's the end of the technical issues. So, my whole point in this slide is so hopefully you're all convinced and motivated and ready to come on this journey with me because right now we're going to get to the nitty gritty of social media. We're going to start with the basics. I'm going to define what social media is and then talk a little bit about it and how to approach it when using it for business. You can think of social media as a new kind of public space. I like to think of it this way. Did you ever hear of the expression standing on your soapbox? You know where that comes from? There's a park in England called Hyde Park that has a corner known as the Speaker's Corner, where since the 1800s this has been a designated area where open air speaking, debate, and discussion is allowed. And in the old days, people would literally bring their wooden crates, their soapboxes, and stand on it and start speaking their opinions and start a public debate. Well, social media is basically like that speaker's corner, except that it's online. People stand on their soapboxes and start dialogues by sharing thoughts, pictures, and videos, and this creates billions of conversations every day. And for you, the business owner, I think it's very important that when you think of social media, you think of this picture. Think of it as a cocktail party or a networking meeting without the restraints of time and space. It's all about conversation. You would never, ever walk into this group of people and say, and I usually pick up my iPhone at this point or something, or whatever I have handy, and I say, you would never walk into this group of people and say, look at my widget. Isn't this a great widget? Don't you want to buy my widget? My widget's 20% off today. And then I pause for a minute and smile real cheesy and look around, and everybody laughs. And I say, yet that is how many business owners use social media. And then they wonder why they don't get results. They just get on and start posting sales and promotions, deals, and they don't connect to their target audience. That wouldn't work in a networking meeting like this picture, and it won't work on social media. If that was your plan for using social media, I'm going to ask you to think again. Because succeeding with social media or any kind of internet marketing is not just about learning how to use the technology of the site to learn to post your promotional material. Successfully marketing your business with social media involves a combination of technology, psychology, and strategy. And we're going to touch on all of that today. Sites like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, they're just tools. Even if you have a great tool, you won't be productive with it and you won't know how to use it properly to create what you want to make if you don't have a goal, a strategy, and a little bit of know how to know how to use that tool to achieve your desired result. It's the same thing with social media. You have to understand the psychology of your target market and why they're on the site and create a strategy for using the technology to connect with your target customer. So, even if you're just getting on social media to promote your business, it's critical to understand why everyone else gets on social media. So instead of me just telling you why people get on social media, why most people are using social media, I have a first person account of why one person uses social media and I think it really represents how many people use it and what role it's filling in people's lives. Social media is the ongoing conversation of the planet. And you can correct me here. I'm not sure if I should be reading this quote or not, like having it and reading it, but I don't know. It kind of works here, I guess. You tell me. Social media is the ongoing conversation of the planet. It's my source of news and my connector to the giant multi-celled organism called planet Earth. As time goes on, social media is my home on the internet. It's my homepage, the place where I spend the most time. It's where I do business. It's where I hang out with friends. It's where I find out about new movies, television products, and looking back on my wall, television. This is the first time I'm doing this in a long time, and I'm actually reading from the script, so uh, I'm stumbling a little bit, but I'll practice it. Let's try that again. This is where I find out about new movie, television, and other products. Looking back on my wall, I have a history that's far richer than any diary or journal. So you see, to many people, social media has truly become a virtual home for them. So if you want to use social media to promote your business, you need to understand the psychology of your target customer and why they're using a social media site, how they use it, in order to create a plan to connect with them. Which brings me to the next part of this jam packed course: social media planning. If you really want to make a maximum impact in a minimum amount of time, I don't recommend that you just dive right in and start posting and socializing. Remember that to be successful, you need a combination of technology, psychology, and strategy. So I suggest that you take some time and create a plan that clearly combines all of these elements, because it will simplify your social media marketing in the long run. So to get you started, I'm going to go over the most important parts of creating a doable social media plan. First, I'm going to list them here and then I'll cover each one in depth. Note to presenter, I'm blanking on your name at the moment. I'm sorry, I should have looked it up. Anyway, note to presenter, I think that when I do it this way and then I go through them, it becomes too repetitive and I need your help on how to structure this better. Okay, so here are the steps. First, you want to get clear about why you're getting on social media in the first place. If your answer is because that's where all the cool kids are, that's not good enough. I want you to have specific, measurable goals to shape your strategy. So I'm going to go over some common goals for your social media campaigns. Next, before you dive in, it's time to learn about the psychology of your target market and do some research on your customers, colleagues, and competitors on each of the social media sites that you are considering using. It can really make a difference in how you approach social media, and I'm going to describe to you how to do it. Then it's time to get clear about the technology part of the plan. You'll decide which sites you're going to use and the main strategies you will use to connect with your audience. I'm going to give you my 3-step formula for marketing your business on any social media site to help you remember the strategies you need to define. Shayna, I need some time to get this done. But strategies, that's a note to my daughter over there. But strategies, I feel like I should just reshoot this from the beginning. Ugh, I don't have time. I need to just get this done. Okay. But strategies aren't enough because you're going to have to take action. So I recommend that you make a social media routine for yourself, and we're going to talk about that. Then finally, you can implement the plan and measure your results so that you can modify your actions accordingly, and I will give you some tips on all of that too. But for now, we're going to start planning by getting clear about your goals. As you may know, I teach a series of hands-on workshops called the Social Media Step-by-Step series. But regardless of if I'm teaching Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn step by step, I always ask the business owners in the class, why are you here? What do you want to accomplish on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever the side of the day is? But I get the same answer 98% of the time. Almost everyone tells me that they want to get exposure for their business. They just want to get their name, their business, or their brand out there and be exposed to more people. But I tell them, and I'm telling you, if that's your only goal, you're not going to get very far. So I want to ask you to shift your mindset just a little bit. Sorry, I jumped the gun on this bullet, but whatever. I want to ask you to shift your mindset a little bit. One of your goals for using social media can certainly be exposure, but exposure will happen naturally if your real goal is engagement. A true measure of success on social media is how your audience responds to you, but that's just the beginning. You should also have more, you should also have other specific measurable goals so that you can make your investment of time and money worthwhile. Okay, so here are some of the possible goals. Some of these can be tracked automatically and some have to be tracked manually, but all of your goals should be measurable. One of your goals can and should be to generate traffic back to your website. And if you're suffering from website shame, I recommend that you fix it before you focus your time and energy on social media. Your website is critical in the process of online marketing. It should be the hub of all of your online marketing efforts because after interacting with you on social media, people are going to check out your website and you should be set up to capture leads and move the customer forward in the sales process. If if you don't do that, it's like spending lots of money on advertising to get people to come to a messy store. Keep this in mind. As great as social media is, it's not your property. Your website and the list of targeted leads that you could build from that website is something no one can take away from you. Unlike a Facebook account, they do get terminated sometimes. So If your website is set up well to convert a visitor to a lead or generate a sale, then one of your social media goals should be to drive traffic to your website. Another one of your goals can get more people to opt into your email list. That's another important goal because, like I said, no one can take that away from you. And email marketing is far from dead, as you may have heard. It has a return on investment of $40 spent, which is far more than the ROI of traditional marketing methods, which is about $15 for every dollar spent. Another one of your goals could be to enhance customer service. Some companies have a separate Facebook fan page or Twitter account just for customer service, and consumers love these pages. Infusionsoft was able to reduce their customer service staff by two-thirds while increasing their customer service satisfaction rate by 10% just by using social media. Another goal could be simply to get feedback from your customers on the products or services. And later in the whirlwind tour of social media of all the sites, I'm going to show you a company that did exactly that and that exploded their business. Another goal could be to get key people to spread the word about your business. These people are often called influencers. And this is one of the things that I love most about social media. You can reach influencers and leaders and media people in a way you never could in real life. Sorry, media people, not a good word. I meant members of the media. All right. And these are just a few of the basic possible goals that you can identify and track with social media. Of course, there's even more you can do, but that's enough to start you getting clear about why you're going to use social media. So, your first step in creating a social media plan is to take a few minutes and define your goals and figure out how you're going to measure success so that you can periodically evaluate how you're doing. Once you've decided on your goals for social media, now it's time to shift your focus and get clear about your customer. Because ultimately, what you do and what you post on social media should not be about you and your business and your goals all the time. 80% of your post should be, as Facebook expert Amy Porterfield says, inspiring, educational, empowering, or entertaining to your target customer. And if you do that 80% of the time, then you can post your promotional period 20% of the time, and your target audience will respond to you and support you. So, you've got to figure out what will engage that target customer. And in order to do that, you've got to know that target customer very, very well. So, in addition to knowing all the typical demographic information like age and gender and income, you'll want to create a psychological profile of the ideal target customer by asking yourself, what are their interests and values? This is especially important when people congregate online based on their interests and values, but even beyond that. What do they do when they're not working? What kind of magazines do they read or TV shows do they watch? What common problems do they complain about? What do they drool over and wish they had? And regarding your product, why does your target customer come looking for your product or service in the first place? What problem are they facing? What need are they trying to fulfill? Or how do they want to enhance their life or feel better? What kind of information do they usually want to know related to your product or service? What kind of questions are you commonly asked? What kind of content would they resonate with the most? Do they like glamorous pictures or more realistic pictures? Do they like to see lots of facts and figures? Or do they want to see information organized in bullet points as opposed to a graph? You really can't get too deep. If you can figure out what kind of cereal your target customer eats for breakfast, so much the better. Your social media plan will only be effective if you can connect to your target customer. So this step is critical, but you're not done yet. This has all been about your hunches about your target market. And at this point, I suggest you do some research using social media to confirm your hunches and learn even more about your target customer and how to connect with them. This research consists of going to the search bar at the various social media sites that you're considering using and typing in keywords related to what you have to offer. Type in your company name, type in the name of your competitors, and click through the results to listen to what's going on. Just by doing this kind of spying or lurking, you can learn a lot about your target market and how to create content that will connect with them. This slide on how to do research is from my Facebook step-by-step class, where as you can see everything is outlined and explained. So to do some research, just put your relevant keywords in the search bar and go through the results listed here on the right, paying attention to the postings and the conversations that you find. Now every social media site's advanced search options are a little different, but this is the general idea and you could do the same with any social media site in the search bar. What When you do this process, you want to look at the results and try to figure it out. Is this is your target First of all, is your target market hanging out on this site at all? And if so, where? Are they in certain groups? Are they in lists? Are there pages dedicated to a subject that they're a part of? This is critical because if you don't find anything, maybe you shouldn't be focusing your marketing efforts on this social media site. After doing this kind of research, I've actually told a company, sure, your target market is actually on Facebook and Twitter, but there are very few conversations related to what you have to offer on Facebook. But there are conversations happening on Twitter, and that's what you need to be a part of. So let's start there. You also want to see, is your competition on this site? How often are they posting? What are they posting? When do they post? And what kinds of posts are getting the most interaction? You want to figure out what's working for your competition and what's not. Why should you have to reinvent the wheel? So, in doing this research, you can learn a lot about your target customer and get ideas on the kind of content you want to post. This is an important step because remember, social media is not just about you and your brand. It's about connecting and building a relationship with them, your target customer. So, by taking the time to create a psychological profile of your target customer and doing some stealth research, you will learn which sites to focus your social media efforts on, and you can get lots of ideas on how to create content to engage your audience. Which, wait, I'm sorry, I need to make the bullet points match my main points there. Which brings us to the next step in the planning process. Defining your strategies. Now you've done your preliminary research, you've set up your accounts, but once you set up your accounts, then what? I don't want you looking like this lady wondering, what do I do? So, I'm going to share with you my 3-step formula for promoting your business on any social media site. And these are the 3 strategies you'll need to define for each site. So when you sit down to use a social media site for business, if you don't know what to do that day, just remember these 3 little words. It's my little mantra. Post, share, and mingle. Unless you're running a very specific contest or event, you're always doing one of these 3 things on social media. Posting your own content, sharing other people's content, or mingling, starting and jumping into conversations. So, in terms of social media planning, you want to create a strategy for each of these activities in advance. Ask yourself, what kind of original content are you going to post on a regular basis? Pictures, video, quotes, recipes? Ideally, you want to decide on some kinds of posts and schedule time to create those posts in advance. Sharing is a little bit easier because once you're on the social media site, there's generally plenty to share or retweet, but you can also plan this too. For example, by setting up a Google Alert. Google Alerts are a free service that will deliver the top stories of the day in your industry right to your email, and perhaps you can share some great articles right from there. Finally, mingling. Mingling isn't just for pushing your message out there like that guy with the megaphone before. Remember, it's like a networking meeting. It's about being social. If you skip this part and you just post and share and you don't jump into conversations, it's like going to this networking meeting and leaving your business cards on the front table and walking out the door. Chances are you're not going to get any business from that networking meeting unless you go up and start talking to people. So, you'll want to give some thought to creating a strategy about how you'll interact with people and start a conversation. Perhaps on LinkedIn, you'll join and participate in certain groups. On Facebook, there may be pages that you check regularly and leave comments. Each site offers different ways to network, so you'll want to plan how actively you will network on each site. And if you really want to be effective and make sure that social media doesn't become a huge time drain for you, you'll want to create a strategy around each of these 3 activities and then create a social media routine for yourself. So, Once you've figured out your goals and gotten clear about your target customer, and then you've outlined the posting, sharing, and networking strategies you're going to use to connect with them, now it's time to start moving and implement your plans. So, just a few tips about the implementation stage. If you've planned your social media routine, staying focused will be much easier for you, but these sites can be very distracting. So, set a timer if you have to, so that you can try to stay focused on posting, sharing, and mingling, and then get out and do your other work. There are many time saving tools out there. I was to put a transition word in there. Also, there are many time saving tools out there, and I'm going to introduce you to my three favorite time saving tools later. But definitely explore those because they will help save you time in the implementation phase. And finally, remember to track your results. Some results will be tracked automatically, like with Facebook Insights, that's the analytics that come with your Facebook page, but some you'll want to track manually, like when people call you and say, I saw your post on Facebook and decided to give you a call. Keep track of how often that happens so you can evaluate your efforts and modify them accordingly. And in terms of tracking results, well, that's quite a controversy in the field of social media, but I think I've found a nice, simple guideline for you. There are three broad areas of metrics that you can track that will help give you a picture if the time and money you're spending on social media is really valuable to your business. First, awareness. You can measure awareness simply by the number of followers and fans that you have. While this is not the only measurement of success, if someone has liked or followed you, you can know that they are aware of your business. Interest. Interest can be measured in terms of your engagement, how many clicks per post you get, how many responses and shares you get from each user. When someone engages with your social media posts, they are showing interest in your business. To get an idea of the value of your interest and awareness, compare the work that you have done to get those clicks and that engagement to how much it would cost to get that same kind of exposure in traditional media, and then you can begin to see some of the value of your efforts. And finally, the third area to measure is action. There are two kinds of actions that you want to track. Micro conversions reflect people taking a step in the sales process, like signing up for your email list or calling for a free consultation. But ultimately, the action that we really want is a macro conversion. We want people to buy more stuff from us. So, let's talk about that for a minute, and then we'll do a quick review and get to the whirlwind tour. We all want more sales, and I'm going to be totally frank here. Social media is not a magic bullet that's going to automatically sell tons of your products and services overnight. Social media is more about creating a relationship and generating leads for your business, even if you rock it on social media. If the other aspects of your marketing or your business processes are not in place, you may not be able to experience the full benefit of your social media marketing efforts. Your website has to be set up to generate leads and sales. Email marketing will really boost the results you get from social media. And finally, you have to take the communication offline, especially with LinkedIn, but with other sites too. Social media should be a bridge to real world connections. Offer your phone number or ask if you can call the person, make a connection, and keep it up. These are some of the ways that you can convert your social media relationships into leads and sales. So, that's it for this section. So far, we have covered a lot. So, before I go on, I just want to do a little review. We talked about why you want to use social media to grow your business, and I gave you lots of statistics and evidence there. Then we went over social media basics, including defining social media and how to approach it. Then finally, we went over how to create a social media plan so that you can be effective and efficient with social media. So now, and it included setting measurable goals, doing your research and listening to get to know your target audience, defining your strategies, your post, share, and mingle strategies, scheduling your action steps, implementing the plan, and measuring your results. So now that you've got the big picture of social media marketing, let's see the sites we've actually been talking about. About to do the whirlwind tour, and then I'm going to give you some time management tips and tools. But first, I thought I'd stop for questions. Okay, so that is the next section, and then the section after that is the whirlwind tour. And then I figured out everyone really wants the time saving techniques. So what I did was I put a little commercial for myself with my classes and my one-on-one consulting in the middle there. So I keep people, interested. It's like, before I get to the time saving tools, let me tell you about blah, blah, blah. If I'm giving them all this free stuff, this free information, I gotta sell myself. So anyway, that is the thing so far. I gotta tell you, I have not read that in a long time. I am reading off a script, and maybe this is really, really bad practice. But when I present, I basically do read off a script, and how well I do that is based on how many times I practiced before. So I really gotta practice before next Sunday. But I am actually really, really good at this. Hardly anyone ever complains that it sounded too scripted or that it looked like I was reading. I may get one or two complaints every 3 or 4 times that I am doing the seminar. And most of the time when I ask about it, most people say, as long as the information's good, I don't care if you're reading. And as you see, I deliver it in a very entertaining way. I didn't do a great job there because I wasn't so familiar with it, so I have to just like go through it a couple of times to just know exactly where to modulate my voice. But anyway, that's it. So what we did, we went over the introduction. We did an introduction to social media and the social media planning section. So I can't wait for your feedback. I'm really excited. This ended up being 31 minutes, so I'll purchase another gig if that helps. I really want this presentation to kick butt. I'm doing it a week from Sunday, and then I'm doing it like a week and a half later. So I really, really need it to kick butt. So help! Thank you. You're my hero. Bye.